to that point, but I mean, the elimination showed up, so I can't argue too much. They got the points they needed in this match.
No, indeed. Them alongside Xavier as well, with the amount of elims that they were able to garner. Very important for their campaign across what is only 2 days of gameplay, with also UDO Alliance kind of making what I would say almost a surprise entry when it comes to the upper echelons of this game. Not necessarily because of the circle and how things were playing out, but they were in a very wide split to start things off match for UDO Alliance. And then I think when it gets down to that 4v1, 3v1 scenario at the end, it's very difficult for him to make that call to try and crest the hill, right? Considering the elimination feed and how it all works out.
Exactly. You just have a big lack of information. It's like, did the entire team get flushed out? Is there just one 3-man team remaining? Is it going to be like a bunch of solos? We're just not quite sure at that point. So let's not take the risk. Let's try and survive to try and just secure second place. So I do get the idea. If he did know that was a misplay, but I just, as you said, I don't think he had the information that it was a full squad. So if he did know, then unfortunately it could have been the good time to strike, but it was still a second place. So a good match, and currently the best match for UDO Alliance.
Hello, Jason.
I was actually just doing my impression of Gladiators that game, just not being here. I don't know, that's a little mean. But I think this game, though, was mostly just about the teams who desperately needed to get some points under their belt, getting those points under their belt. You guys already talked about Besija. Obviously, this is their last day of play as well, so they really have to rack up as much as possible to build that buffer. UD Alliance, this is the first time they are playing, so they can get some steam going here as they go on forward into this one. And Nazir, which, I mean, 9 eliminations, that's a good start. I think for me, for a team like that, it's a confidence booster. It's to show them that, okay, we can compete against these teams, even though we might have been struggling the first couple of matches, but where can they go from here? And obviously, we still have that one Erangel left to come today. Gladiators, going out early, but again, they should be relatively safe. Alter Ego, not really much to say about them either, if you had anything to chime in with Kolaris, but
I mean,
not gonna
honestly,
force you.
I mean, as you're saying for Nasser, I like their decision making to just start sweeping and start eliminating. Like, if you think about giving up a gas station location, yes, you could sit on the edge, on the east edge of that circle and just slowly creep up to that. Maybe you'd have to kind of have a bit of a skirmish with the remaining members of Alliance kind of north of you, as they're also wanting to be approaching from that similar angle. Maybe you lose people out on that, but they decided, no, let's take that south side, which is covered a little bit more by, you know, the terrain as a whole, and actually take some really good skirmishes. So I'm impressed from that game.
I agree.
Well, we'll see if they can maintain any sort of momentum though going into the next match here. Let's throw it back to our casters, Jack Gimbley.
Thanks, Jason. I know, man. It's a treat, Blank, right? With the way that the games have been going so far today, they just keep delivering. We keep getting some real moments of excitement. So honestly, I'm just kind of living for it, man. This is a good time to be enjoying the survival stage from a safe position, anyway, right? If we're in the games, different story. But watching them, I'm having a field day.
Absolutely. I love that. You know, Jason is so excited that he went slow-mo for that throw. That was amazing. Beautiful stuff. We got the hands up. Everyone wants to speak to the teacher, apparently. Tulika doesn't know what's going on. That's fine. Zerich is slamming down. What a weird scenario that was. Okay. I do feel, yeah, it's like 2 boys in the back, like, we're just here. Zerich and Tulika are doing everything. Zerich is like, another rotation gone wrong again. But to be fair to the Mad Bulls, I think honestly Tulika probably is a little bit stressed because he has done so much work for them. I think he's really, really doing well for the team, and they should be very, very pleased with his results because I think he's come a long, long way in the year he's been playing with the Mad Bulls. It used to be a case that he was a bit of a loose cannon on the team, always going a little bit too far away from them, but he plays much more as a good teammate now. Supporting Zerich and being a great frontliner without getting too aggressive. So I've been very, very excited to see the development coming through from Tulika in particular.
He's looking good, man. He really is. And I think, you know, it's interesting because this entire Mad Bulls roster can definitely deliver at times. And we've always kind of set that precedent that they are very exciting to watch. They are very explosive. It just wasn't super consistent, was I think the problem with it. Whereas now, at least into the survival stage, it kind of seems like something has clicked and they've realized, you know, we really need to make sure that we're the ones making our own future for ourselves. So we're free chicken dinners already under the belt, which by and large, you know, that's no easy feat. They've definitely had to put the work work in. That's over the space of the 2 days as well. And we're only really, you know, a handful of games in today. We still have this last Erangel and then 2 Miramars as well. So anything else Mad Bulls can find on the day, they're going to be happy with. We'll see, though, as we are getting back into it. Third and final Erangel then. So any chance for some last-minute shenanigans, we'll see if they'll be coming out.
Yeah, I mean, for some of these teams, might want to go for a hot drop potentially. It's the last map of the day, so it's one where you could pull out some secret sauce moves on the Erangel match, especially with Group Green, this being their final match of Erangel they will be playing, so they could surprise some of these teams. Maybe. We'll see what happens if they just keep it basic, though. I think a lot of these teams are kind of really leaning into consistency more than anything at this point in time, realizing that, look, it's not easy to pick up these points, and I think for us, it's just a better idea that we just keep things going the way they want it to. But Zerich actually drops over towards Nasa, but I think this is more of a case of this playing path causing this more than anything. But this is going to be difficult, particularly with the fact that a lot of the Mad Bulls are not in close contention. Luckily, they've got 2 shotguns, which are going to be extremely useful in this close range combat that they're going to get themselves into very shortly.
It looks so terrifying watching a man in a raincoat with a blade just crouching around the corner blank. It's very horror movie-esque, but it's not October anymore. It's November, so we're getting closer towards the Christmassy season. I imagine we'll see some gifts being given out inside of the compound, most likely being bullets, though, with those shotguns. Seems like the phones are going down, and there probably has been a technical issue, so we're going to need a rehost on this bad boy. It's a cut short. Not going to be seeing any shenanigans on this one. For another test on the old Erangel.
I do like that, you know, it sort of felt like Mad Bulls stopped that match. They were like, we're in a horrible situation, guys. Can we just get a rehost? Come on, man.
We shut it down.
Yeah, we shut it down. I mean, I think most teams, considering how quickly we got that rematch as well, down, slam of the desk, considering how quickly we got that rematch going through as well, most teams would be pretty pleased with how that one worked out, considering how horrible that playing path was, right? Not easy to work through with.
Yeah. No, exactly. Honestly, unless we roll the dice and end up getting a critical fail again, right? It should be better. It should be better than that for most of the squads in terms of easy routes to your common drop spots. So hopefully won't be all doom and gloom for them, and shouldn't take too long to get things sorted out and straight back in. Nice seeing some of our players on screen as well today, Blank. You know, there's not been a lot of time with the player cams today, and it does give us a bit more of an insight into how some of the teams are looking. That sort of human element. Oh, hello, I say human. We've got man Sith Lord over here.
I know. Maku just in the dark right now.
Look at him.
Yeah, very spooky.
I have the power to win any chicken dinner, no matter the length of time in the survival stage.
Oh, dear me.
Unlimited points on the last day.
That's what they need. That's what they need at the end of the day. I mean, realistically, we need to start getting some of these points going. And if you need to become the Sith Lord, you need to start shooting out some bolts of lightning from your fingers to get it done. All respect to Maku, realistically.
Hey, I'll give it to him, man. It's a good look, honestly. It's a good look. This is nice, though. I have missed this. You know, even seeing Quest on screen, man. You know, Al Haji, the man is just so emotive as well. Kind of wears his heart on his sleeve a little bit. So it's nice sort of getting a glimpse with the camp of Quest, seeing how they're looking. Obviously, rough day for them. Rough span of days, really. But still looking like at least the mental fortitude is there. A little bit of frustration, maybe bubbling to a boil. But that could be used to their edge. The phase cam now on screens as well. And damn, we got the stats to back it up as well. FaZe not actually having a bad day of it, to be honest, Blank.
Yeah, I think for FaZe, it's been pretty decent. I think we got the dance moves from Mela earlier on, and now we're coming back for some more. Oh, okay. I thought I was going in a different direction. We got the love heart instead. That's great. Thank you very much. For FaZe, honestly, that last game was really, really cool. I enjoyed the fact that we saw the almost 2v4 coming through. They looked pretty strong with it. There's definitely some strong players on that team. Mello and Ventoras, really, really long-standing players within the scene as well. PUBG Mobile, they've done some really good stuff in the past. We've got Enigma Galaxy on screen at the moment. A team that's just kind of struggled, right? And I think that one of their major issues, they don't find enough vehicles, which feels like, you know, it feels like you're failing at the first aspect of PUBG Mobile. And that feels bad to say because I know they're a good team, but that's like rule number one, right? Just get some vehicles on the drop, go from there.
Look, the way to word it in a friendly manner is they've been very cost efficient on fuel today. They've been using the you know, the carpool lane.
Yeah. It's not ideal, that's for sure.
It's definitely not.
I mean, we're trying to put olive oil in the tank right now. It's not working. Let's just get...
That's not going to work. That's not dinosaur juice.
Yeah, let's get some more vehicles. Let's get some more dinosaur juice from the ground. Let's pump it up and just get on moving, because 4 vehicles better than 1 vehicle. I don't feel like I need to say that on PMGC, but there you go. But 20 seconds before we get back into our 4th match of the day. Bit odd because, again, with that plane path, no, calm down.
I do love the idea that they've not communicated this to Two Liquor at all. So he's just sat there like, why do they keep putting their hands
What's going on? They're all becoming mannequins at this point in time. We don't exist. These are just stand-in dolls for Naomi as well as Frozen.
Right then. Well, let's get our seatbelts snapped in as it's time to go back to Erangel. Last game of the day today for this map. Following this, we get the back-to-back Miramar. So a bit of a change of pace there, a bit of a change of scenery that will be just around the corner. Who's getting that last chicken dinner on Erangel, though? And how's this game going to go? Let's find out. Plane path, a little bit nicer.
Yeah, way nicer, actually, on this one, because I think whenever you get that plane path that moves down slope right on the edge of the map, you're given so many limited options, especially forcing a lot of teams to drop over towards the Sosnovka military base as well. And if you do want to get towards one of your original drop spots, you sort of have to drop towards that middle third of the plane path, which means that more than likely you're going to run into at least another 10 other teams trying to do the same thing alongside with you. So picking up some of those trash drops, trying to pick up those vehicles, going to get very hairy indeed. So with this plane path, you're going to have a lot more room to drop out when you want to, and kind of spread yourself across the map. Even though it is far off towards the western side, a lot of teams will be much more pleased on their approach. Nacer dropping over towards Rozhok right now alongside with the Mad Bulls. I don't think they'll be dropping right on top of them potentially, but we'll wait and see. We get another circle very similar to our last one on our angle up towards that northern side of the map.
Okay then. A little bit of water on that boy for now, but it won't matter too much. Early doors. Looking at some of the spots though, just seeing if there's going to be any shenanigans here for our last Erangel. We've seen a couple of hot drops sprinkled in for good measure today, but nothing overly audacious here. The only close proximity we really see is on screens now, with Mad Bulls a couple of miles away, especially with the move that's coming in, different trajectories for the rotations. You can't be doing that. If you look directly at the sunblank, it's quite bad for your eyes.
He's got a blue light filter on the red dot, don't worry.
Oh, he's okay.
He's all good.
I was worried there for a second. His retinas would be taking damage, Blank.
Oh, absolutely. Won't be able to see for the rest of the game. Just have like the smallest pinpoint of vision towards the center.
Just really realistic PUBG Mobile. Yeah, I've looked at the sun. And
I can no longer see. It's not good. Can we get a rematch, please? Rehost.
I've been flashbanged by the big orb.
What is big orb in the sky? I do not understand.
Where has this come from?
Who is he? Yeah, it doesn't
be like the
oh my God,
bear in the big blue house, mate.
Yeah.
You know,
we'll have to explain what the sun is. Well, everybody. No, I'm only joking. But we are going to head over towards the northern side for the time being. NBE Sports. I don't think they've done too badly at all. Kaze's kind of been like the main driving force of the team, though, right?
Yeah.
Hitting some really, really good shots recently, but again, some of their rotates feel just a little bit lacking, getting caught on the edge side quite a few times, which doesn't feel great for them as a team, because I do think that when this team is put under pressure, some of their rotations to try and extricate themselves from those positions become a little bit haphazard. I think they've been fortunate on some of these other games where, for instance, they had an opportunity on that last match to escape, and they zoomed in over towards Inco and immediately got put down by them. But that could have been a much better fight if it wasn't the fact that Becker just withstood the force of a vehicle going 60 miles per hour. Doesn't make much sense to me. FaZe, though, immediately take a knock. Zfan will move up. Mormon has only got the shotgun, but a great drop shot there will take down Shifan. A little bit of that greed being punished away there in the box compound.
So Mormon with the AK, slays from far away, throws the clip back in, as they will hit the DECK. Gets the res back off as well. Meanwhile, Car Chase City is the name of the game here, it seems. Ooh, contact from the side, though, baited in as they pulled into Quest's domain. And right now, they are ready to rumble. They assault onto the close range players. Ooh, good damage done onto the getaway vehicle as well, as Al Haji is throwing out the bullets. And they're chasing the Quest convoy hard on the tail blank, looking to see if they can actually fight this one back and chase him down.
I mean, they desperately need the points, right? And I mean, FSS is moving straight up towards the top side of Everest, trying to escape as quick as he can. Get his level 3 in hiking done here. Fahidan sends towards that top side, just tries to spot for him, but I don't think FFS is going to be in this situation for too long at all. Al Haji will just be medkitting away, gets himself back up to full HP here. But FaZe, I think they did a pretty decent job to sort of resume operations after taking that initial knock there from Zfan. And it will be N-Hyper who really does suffer the consequences of getting too aggressive in this location, dropping down to just 2 players now.
DX on screens here, getting the looting done. DX been a little bit less uncontested in terms of fighting for common drop spots. They've been willing to actually mold themselves into less common drops or work around some of our other teams. That's something that we are now seeing from them, which was quite uncharacteristic of what they were doing game in, game out, at least back during the regulation part of the group stage with the full group green. So shows at least some smart adjustments for them there. FS did at least get away. He's been able to run down and avoid Quest's onslaught.
Yeah.
But what have you really got left, man? The entire team off the back of that was basically split in half, right? Like, sure, they're still alive, but you're down to just 2 with low HP and not really much to work with in terms of the early loot either. You haven't had a chance to kind of pick anything clean. So rough start for them, to say the least.
Yeah, I don't even think FS even knows where he's going at this point in time. Sends up towards Zaki, of all places. Nigma Galaxy make their way in towards Rozok. I think this is a bit of a lion's den that you don't really want to get into too early on. Easy gets taken down by FaZe, who pick themselves up yet another point on the match here. Quest tries to come in for a little bit of retribution. Al Haji spots out, but Onzen's very ready for the same peak again. Doesn't try to go for anything fancy here, and Quest realizes it's probably just a good idea to bail out this one. Gladiators up towards the northern edge of Georgia Pod, still looting. They've got a lot of time ahead of them to make this one happen. A lot of teams did shift themselves over towards the eastern side of the map, so a lot of this western edge is quite free, and with a lot of the infighting that has happened between FaZe and Hyper as well as Quest, a lot of these teams haven't made their initial rotates yet. Zerich spots onto Ralph from Nigma Galaxy. You got Freak on the side here, but Zerich is very quick with it, in and out of cover like a shot here.
Trying to hard commit and does pick it up, landing the follow-up shot. Ooh, quick pre-fire as well. So Zerich was paranoid about the peak there, coming around the corner a little bit quicker than he had anticipated for. Does go fast on the chase, but already with the engine purring, they're just trying to get away and avoid just losing most of their stock here in the Mad Bulls territory. So give up the fight on that one. We get a cameo from Reject Tokyo as well. They seem to have done a good job of finding themselves 4 vehicles to work with. So rotates now going to be a bit of an easier piece of the puzzle for them. And they're also heading over towards Rozhok. So you do have a potential here where you're going to have quite a few close grouped squads actually, especially with Nassar pushing further down. They might actually get a bit of a read on this one. So room to breathe. Big split for them as well actually. Basically running a buddy system of 2 players apiece. On the bridge cam to the left, you can see Rosemary as well, starting to inflict some damage towards FaZe. That's another hot spot. In terms of the heat map there, Gladiators towards the top, just above Quest. Quest that seem to be edging closer towards FaZe after hearing the dinner bell being rung.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of teams that had a lot of these engagements happening earlier, right, Jackie? And they decided that, you know, they're not going to move across the bridges. They're going to get stuck in over towards this ridge side on the western edge. And I think that has made for a very interesting western side of the circle with a lot of these teams opting just not to push forward. Quest, I think that was a rundown over towards Alter Ego that was found there after they took a couple of pot shots. Lufa looks over towards Tulica, will find the initial shot on the DBS, backing off just slightly, now looking for Zerich, who is holding his own as best as he can here.
Oh, felt like that one was a little bit sloppy to get the final pick up there in the end, but they're still fighting for it, still looking to close things out. Frozen fragmented from the rest of the squad, peeks out through the smoke. Ooh, look at the nade lineup on that as well. A couple seconds slower on the getaway, and he could have been eating that nade. Would have absolutely ruined him. Luckily, Mad Bulls will still hold on with just one man, Frozen, the ice-cold assassin that had to let it go on that one, as he'll back off and tuck into a better angle. Meanwhile, Lord puts some bullets down range as well, just keeping the pressure on. So Rejects in the thick of it now with players surrounding them from most angles here. Coops does fall back after at least playing his initial card, going to the compound to play off his team.
Yeah, it's actually a really strong spot that Rejects able to pick themselves up there. I mean, it's not an easy one to immediately take control of. Alva looks over towards Quest, will find 2 of them, immediately sprays both of them down. It will just be the 1 player left remaining now for Quest in Fahidan. Our Alter Ego desperately needed those points as well, up to 4 now total. And I think for them, you know, currently in 9th place, 36 points. That takes them to 40. So they're not in the worst spot in the world, but it's not great either. Let's put it that way. I think for Nigma Galaxy, on the other hand, still need to get some more points on today, realistically. N Hyper currently at 10 points total, 0 points on the game. You know, there's a couple of these teams from Group Red that really do need to get a move on at this point in time. But this is one of the more infighty lobbies we've seen throughout the entirety of the survival stage. Yesterday was just quite dominant. A lot of smart maneuvers going around. This is very scrappy, I would say, in terms of the fighting that's been going on.
Yeah, that does sum it up pretty accurately. It's been a very, very scrappy affair. Close quarters combat being the aggressive maneuver here from Alter Ego. Kicking the doors, running on in, and finding the pickups with both barrels there. Stereo connection onto Quest. So they're taken down. Gladiators are close by, close enough that maybe their ears are perking up and thinking about the potential, but they might have their heads a bit more screwed on, thinking about the longevity of the game here, rather than trying to get involved with potential dribs and drabs of Elim points. Reject Tokyo still looking like they've got confidence as well. They've got a good setup in terms of the position, but they haven't really cascaded back. They've still been controlling the outer ridge here towards the hillside after not wanting to give it up when Mad Bulls pushed in and applied a bit of pressure onto them, trying to keep control of the land they've found. Lord seems to have taken a bullet to the back of the head there, though, so down on his last legs for the meantime. Quick head count of our squads. You can see that a fair few of them have already lost players, so the battle of attrition has been going on in the background. The only actual squad wipe we've seen, though, was Quest.
Yeah, it's been a sort of a difficult game for a lot of teams where they've just been taking a couple of fights here and there, trying to escape from it. And you can tell that's kind of the survival stage mentality of a lot of these teams, that you start to lose an engagement. Right, that's it. We'll just leave it alone. Let's get out of here as quickly as possible. And Hyper's initial fight went horribly, horribly wrong, really pear-shaped in that sense. But for Reject, they picked themselves out a very strong spot. And you're right, they're holding on the outside edge. They've realized that the 3-story gives them a lot of strength in terms of being able to spot out teams and take some shots across the way, try to weaken some of these squads, potentially even get a flush. But leaving this position also is a little bit rough for yourself, because you are surrounded by some compounds that can quite easily cut off your disengages. So for Regiosio, probably one of the smarter players, I would say, to leave on the outside edge. Really, really strong individual player in of his own right. Can get away with maybe a quick knock and then a retreat back to the rest of the team. So I like this play from Reject so far. It's looking strong. FaZe, though, do find one of the players in Kitsune there. I think that's a bit of a misstep coming through from the Gladiators. They should have known there might be more teams coming through on this area and just allowing Mela to immediately pick himself up. A quick and cheeky flush on towards them. Their gatekeep gets shut down almost immediately.
Guarding the edge here, though. Meku with the full wide berth on the rotate, trying to get as far back as he can. There is still a play to be made, though, inside of the blue. If you could assist Mela, you could still put pressure on Meku and force him to give up the aggression on this one. He was just looking for a read, and the information play does still stay alive with his hands firmly on the wheel, so he's happy to at least be breathing on this one. Alter Ego are relatively close as well, with even a slight push there, just looking for a read themselves, so assessing what exactly was going on ahead of them. Meanwhile, Melisse looking to try and make their move over the bridge at some point here, with the zone pushing further in and actually setting itself up in a relatively good spot for Evos once again as well. Melisse, though, will have to fight tooth and nail for this, and they go for the brutish approach, sending the vehicle in with Kishu just driving his way through straight away. We'll put a pin in that, though, as there's a fight going on, and FaZe are fragging blank. They found their way through all of the Gladiators in seconds there.
Mate, again, this is Mela just absolutely killing it today. And I mean, we saw that on that last game, almost the 2v4 versus Procedure Evos. And Mela once again shows us he can do it just as easily in the mid game as he can in the late game. So a really, really heads up play there coming through from Mela. I don't know how that just occurred, but with the DBS, that guy is absolutely kingly, and I think that's going to bring Gladiators back down to earth once again. Maybe one or two more good games for them to see them feeling a little bit safer into the lobby at the end of the day. 59 points, it's pretty decent, and with the amount of teams that are currently sat down towards 18, 17 points total, there's a chance for this team. There's still a chance, but that does not look promising. For FaZe, on the other hand, they've had some pretty cool standouts today. Not always been able to get all their players towards that end game, but, you know, at least some eliminations every single time. They're already up to 30 points on their first day. It's good to see.
It is nice for them. Big game. Even if they go out now, you've still been able to achieve a lot in terms of the elims and the other chicken dinners they've taken. More to be done for FaZe as well, of course, as you know, this isn't the end of their run. They'll still have tomorrow to come back out swinging up against Group Yellow and see what they can do there. Fight continues on now, though, with Frozen being really close in terms of the positioning. You were thinking maybe there was chance for the fight there. We'll join that again, though, once things kick off. For now, you've got the rotate on screens, and Melisse still trying to make their move. Trapped under the bridge here, as CEO later wants them to pay the toll. He is trying to defend this, it seems. DBS in the hands. Close quarters engagement up against the SMG, just peppered instantly. Overwhelmed there and crumbles because of it. So the remaining members of Melisse are expired, and Inco could potentially throw a party from there. Had a read on the hill, but don't aggress down.
Yeah, for Inco, it's a little bit of a difficult scenario for them, but they're able to hold on to it. Not bad at all. DXAV continue on. I think this has been one of the more consistent teams from our lobby so far. Inco moving over towards NASA, over towards Spec at the moment. A little bit of a difficult position to be playing in. Doesn't really have the support of his teammates, but a nice first initial spray down. Everyone's just trying to get the DBSs on the roof, but he doesn't care. The Vector will do the trick.
Oh, he cuts his way through the first. Looking to re-aggress here as well. Bullets going down, detonations inside of the building. Xenox looking for the wide swing, close up through the window, spots another Inco man, but he's been punished from the side himself. Down on the floor now. Spec as well, eats the nade. Perfect bounce on that. Beautiful use of the angle as it ricochets off of the wall and takes the man down. Both of them playing medic, looking to get the reses in and reset on the fight. Doors wide open, head taken clean off as Squash, he goes out of the situation. Star comes sprinting in and this fight keeps on going.
Mate, there's no point did it occur to Spec to just use the first aid kit in his inventory at all. Like, what was he doing jumping down with 10 HP? Didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. And with that, Nenebete might be able to finish up a lot of these players coming through from NASA. A total misplay, in my opinion, from what was an incredible opening fight there from Spec himself. If Nenebete is able to clutch this out, it's basically all down to the fact that you just don't use the utility that's on side. There was more than enough time and chance to use it. Just the aggression there was a little bit silly, in my opinion. Reject still pushing onwards, currently up to 34 points, 37 if you add the eliminations on. And I think, you know what, they've had a decent day today. They've been really trying to hit those numbers where they can. They understand that time is wearing thin for them too.
And the gap between DX is closing as well. Similar sort of story for Rejects, it seems, as they go for the swoop in and look to command respect here in the compound clash. Sarah, the bicep man, hits the first as Link goes down. Lufa again aggresses onto Misery, and one by one, Evos are becoming extinct as they are falling out of the server quite quickly. Luxy, though, wants to try and save face. Nades thrown in. Nice tag on at the first. Has the DBS as well. He could clean out the building here, Blank, if he can find his way in. Nice nade to at least defend. Smoke canisters go up as well. Blocks the pathing and the eye line, but could be exposed to Coops and Co from the back. So Rejects have taken command of the gas station for now.
That was definitely a deluxe grenade if I've ever seen one. Nade over the top from Regiosio. Bounces, actually just airburst a bit too early there for him. Looks to send another one over the top. Has a general idea of where he is. Great nade from Regiosio. Will finish it off and Pazija Evos goes down. Now remember, this is the position where Pazija Evos won the game from last match. And I think for Reject, they understand that. They're like, look, we'll take it off your hands, no problem. Quick push in, picks up a lot of eliminations off the back of some really nice shots with the DBS. And that's confidence we wanted to see from Reject a lot earlier on. For Udo Alliance, it's starting to get a bit better for them each and every single game. You know, their averages aren't looking too bad at all. Currently 5 points per game. Yes, it's not championship level of averages, but for some other teams who really have not done that at all, I would say this is a promising start for Udo Alliance.
They've not been looking too bad in some of the fights they've been able to find themselves in today. We've seen some smart decision making, even at least keeping games going when they're low in terms of stock, low in terms of manpower. So Udo Alliance, pretty good job of at least being a thorn in the side of some other teams. What can they get done here, though? In potentially a position where, you know, there is a chance you could chalk this one up as a W, as a chicken dinner, if you play your cards correctly. Frozen, still just trying to keep his attention drawn in the direction of Reject Tokyo. Rejects that are now getting themselves situated inside of the vehicles, driving seats at the ready, and start to set their focus on the new zone. Everyone's going to want to move their way further forward now. Udo Alliance with a good spread of it as well. They'll have nice control to work off of. Meanwhile, MBE, Sec on the snipe with a Mini 14, firing off the warning shots, makes his presence known, but no actual connection. And he has given an inkling across the Udo as well of his position now.
Yeah, Cluck here off in the distance. Your Udo Alliance currently at those 5 eliminations found so far on this map. Could you go even a little bit further? You're talking about before Sec on that Mini 14, hitting some nice shots. Nenebete, in the meantime, takes his chances on the rotate while everyone is a little bit distracted. Will be able to get himself to fairly defensible position as well over on this side. MBE Sports off in the distance, very, very close to him. Udo Alliance is trying to take him down, but it is Olio to spot that one out. Once again, we see Udo Alliance in this situation where they potentially can take the chicken dinner on this game. They came second on that last match. So far, some very nice little averages on our angle. Reject will send in over towards Coops, last player remaining. Good initial grenade, but just overwhelming force here from Reject.
They just swoop in like an aggressive seagull at the boardwalk, just wanting to steal away their set of chips. And they take that one down instantly. Udo Alliance, they've got a good spread for it, good setup in terms of the positioning to maybe get a few shots off here onto Reject Tokyo. And they're the ones that want a gun for the longevity on this. Both squads with 4 players alive. For Mapples, it is just Frozen. And keep in mind, Frozen's team, they were picked off by Rejects quite some time ago. He was hoping to get revenge, but he'll find nothing for his troubles as you do connect onto him and they dispatch the ball. Seeing red now as we fall to our final 3 squads. Look at the damage being inflicted here as well, Blank. Softening them up now. Confidence is there. This could be where they start to rev their engines for the dive.
Yeah, looking to move in towards it. And I like this spread coming through from Udo Alliance. So aggressive. The distance, though, Sara is able to pick up one from MBE Sports. They have to immediately get on that res there if they want to get something done off the back of it. They might just send in over towards MBE Sports as well, claim a little bit more space. Cluck also getting involved, realizing that MBE Sports looks a little bit weakened off the back of that one. Olio with this position on top of the rooftops is so unbelievably strong, though, Jackie. Gives them so much advantage coming into the future. Reject were able to get a little bit further around, but more and more shots keep pouring over their way. MBE Sports with Mondo up front with 1 nade left remaining, but fully kitted out here with the MG3.
Quick looting, quick reset, shuffling. Everyone waiting for the right strike, the right moment to stick themselves into the action. The aggression works well for the first connection. Bullets downrange onto MBE, at least quelling their numbers for now, forcing one of the players into a knock and leaving them with a decision to make. No real quick move to get Modo back up, so you're probably going to have to give up the goose on him, fragmenting their numbers even more. And this setup from Udo is still looking so powerful. Every time there's a peak, they have the geometry to defend themselves while dealing damage. They've got set up so if there is contact, someone else can help out as well. They could play for trades pretty efficiently from this, and all they've got to do is hold. Everyone else sitting on the edge of the rim as well, not wanting to push in yet. The zone will be the only part that could potentially throw a spanner in the works for them. But with how they're playing it at the minute, Blank, this is looking great for Alliance.
Yeah, pretty much this was one of the circles that Reject likely was hoping for as well, because Olio on this spot had to be pushed out of it before stage 8. Realistically, this is a very early way to end a game in stage 7, having 3 teams at stage 6. Almost unheard of. This game was extremely quick in terms of play. For Reject, though, they know they need to get further into the circle. They need to regroup Regiosio as well as Sara, but this circle does assist them. Getting Olio off from that rooftop gives them a much more even chance here, much more even footing. The fact that he's able to take pot shots downwards provides so much information all the time towards the rest of his teammates. Is causing so much problems. He's finally off it now, and Reject might be starting to think about when they want to move off towards the rest of their squad.
Lufa hearing the sniper shots whizzing by him. Ooh, it looked like his days were numbered, but the team defends as they assist their mate. A few pot shots back over. That's Reginosio, who's just taking the peek from behind the tree, hoping that he can, if not deal damage, at least start to dent the confidence. So Udo Alliance can't peek into this so easily. They've still got such a good setup though, and this could be absolutely fantastic. They thought they had the lineup with a nade. No real response to it though. Not actually turning onto this one. They just leave themselves laying there in the open. Can't really retaliate too easily, and they're just being farmed, Blank. The nades go in again for the easy cleanup, and they're taken out of commission. Wiped off the face of the battleground there, leaving it into the final fight then.
Yeah, 3v4 now. And I think for You Alliance, honestly, when you're in that situation and you are MVE Sports, you just have to hope that he only has 2 grenades and you can withstand 2. Unfortunately for them, Olio had been sent forward with a blinding 7 in the back pocket. The circle moves over towards the north side and Reject's going to have to play a very, very tough game. They've got no more smokes remaining either, so getting up will require them to get at least a knock. Lufa's not able to make it happen. Now just 2 players left alive versus Yudu's 4, and they're going to send in on the approach. Is this going to be their downfall, or will this be where they win? Olio continues to send in some massive nades. He's been so important this entire game. The nade goes off, Reject will go out, and Yudu Alliance, despite only getting the second that last game, Olio not going in for the 1v1 definitely makes up for things here on this Erangel.
You do take those wins, Blank, as they're pulling off another one. Coming out swinging here. You're going to be happy with that. You're going to be in a position now where things are looking a lot better already. They were a team that today looked like they were kind of nipping at heels and at least keeping themselves in a good position. Now it actually seems comparable to think, you know, if they could maintain this, Blank, for their day 2 tomorrow as well, alongside potentially the next 2 games we have coming up, then Alliance are actually in a much better position than it felt like potentially they were going to be coming into this. They're looking good in the survival stage right now, taking to it quite comfortably.
Yeah, it's a really nice jump up from them as well off the back of that game. I mean, Olio, again, 1,088 damage done, only 84 damage received. I think their setup on that was very nice as well. Or towards that northern side, they had, I think it was Iftar or maybe Flax, who was up close, just holding out MVE Sports that entire time. I think they had really good control over both Reject and MVE Sports, not allowing either of those teams any breathing room whatsoever. And that came with an aggressive hold, right? You know, they had to have the big split going there in the end game. But yeah, really impressive from Yudu Alliance. And I think Olio will be certainly pleased because sort of gave himself up a chicken dinner last game, even though he didn't know it. This time around, definitely secures that chicken dinner. In the meantime, secure your seatbelts because we're heading back over to the desk.
All right, seatbelts are secured here. I don't know what sound that was, but we are back with U2 Alliance. Get themselves a big victory, honestly, and a pretty needed victory. We have to keep in mind that during this entire day, this is technically the easiest group for Group Red to go up against, considering the point discrepancy we heard from Max at the start of the day between yellow and green. So they need to collect every single point they possibly can, and Olio this time kind of redeeming himself, as we heard the caster say from our prior match, Max.
Yeah, really happy with UD Alliance getting himself that split. Of course, the circle not ending towards that kind of gas station location, so forcing teams like Reject to leave it. And when you have that 4-man split, pretty much, Jason, there's not much you can really do, and you're just very predictable behind that pylon. You just, the moment you try and peek your head around the corner, you're going to get completely wrecked. So 24 points on this one for UD Alliance. Great match, and also play with over 1,000 damage, Kalaris. That's really cool.
Yeah, wow. There you go. That's the sound for that one.
Thank you.
Even though we've not really properly seen it. Yeah, they were laughing together after that victory because they were like, we've seen this circle before. And we got to adapt from the previous game whilst doing it. I mean, they were holding strong up in the north, right? Like, they controlled so much room with this to be able to then head south that I think they actually really did, no joke, take learnings from the previous game and apply them here.
I mean, they dropped Northern Stolber, right? No one is going to be on this game, in this lobby, stopping that kind of rotation. No one is in between their drop location and the spot where their game ends, so it's not going to be happening in 1,000 years. And yeah, Leo, sure, he was able to confirm that game earlier on match number 3, but here he's able to just survive with his team and get things done. So happy about that one, though. If I want to take the conversation another way, Kalaris, is Reject knew how strong this time around the Procedure Evo's gas station actually was. Like, how about we crash it just like 5 minutes earlier in this match and maybe win the game? Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, and they hit it with severity as well, right? Like, they absolutely barreled into that position and really gave Procedure no time to be able to react to said attack here. So for Reject, I love the decisive nature of that. I love just the very, very small window you're giving your opponents to be able to react to an assault oncoming here from the Japanese team.
Real quick, as we see in 21st place Quest, they have only 2 matches left to go before they're done in the entire survival stage. If they want to have any sort of chance, they had to come up big in these last 2 games. Otherwise, that's going to be one of our teams confirmed going to be out. But Enigma Galaxy, man, Max, 24th place. They have not been able to get anything going so far.
I think that Jackie and Blank were talking about it also during the games, and I did come up to that like kind of conclusion myself also, is that they're just struggling to get cars, and because of that, you're very vulnerable to teams that are going to be on your path to the circle, and that just been happening so many times for Enigma Galaxy, losing Coops, losing Lord, losing Freak, and then you just don't have the players to really compete for that possible win. So yeah, they gotta get more cars. Really, it's as easy as that right now. I know I'm making it seem very easy, but if they get 2, 3 cars, 4 cars if possible, you're instantly taking way smaller risks while you're trying to get to a good POI in these circles.
I do want to give a special shout out to two different players that we haven't really touched on just yet. Spec from Nasser coming in massive on top of that building when we saw Inko crash on top of him. Somehow with the Vector, he was able to just hold on. But then Nenebechi on the other side, able to close things out and save his team. Well, save himself at least, and get the wipe onto Nasser. That was just a really cool little battle between those 2 individual players.
Yeah, some good knocks from Nenebechi to kind of finish things off. And again, cooking grenades to be able to just throw them at the exact right time to really cause a lot of problems for his opponents here as he's trying.
Nenebechi was doing something that was very interesting, is he was faking nades also during this entire match. He was just like taking the pin out and actually just doing the audio cue, and that was kind of scaring the opposite side to go for the res, and because of that he was able to just make them linger as a solo and then win the fight. So it's very small details like that, but Nenebechi as an individual, we also saw it last year in PMGC, right, has the chops to be one of the best players in this lobby, I'd say.
Yeah, and it's great to see him as well come back into his own when we first saw him come into the scene back in B4 over like 2-3 years ago when I was actually working on it a little bit more consistently. But guys, we are going to be heading to a short break shortly, but before then, going to remind you guys once again about the Infinix GT10 Pro. You guys can pick this up. It's born for professional esports players, and you guys can dominate the lobby while doing so. Not to mention, you can play in the new Frost Festival now out in PUBG Mobile. You guys can get into this frosty adventure, pick it up and play, and potentially create some snowmen yourself. We also do have the popular annual gala kicking off between the November 15th over till December 15th, where you guys can play in 10 1v1 matches, potentially get some exclusive rewards that you can show off for yourself. And while you're showing those off, you can show off your new Pagani as well with the Zonda R model coming to us, and the Amola. You guys can run over your enemies, and hopefully for Enigma Galaxy's sake, they can pick some of these up and survive and stay alive and get into the later stages where they can potentially use their victory dance and show off that they are their own favorite team in PMGC. We're going to head to a short break while we get things ready to go for our first of 2 matches on Miramar, and we'll see you all in just a short few.
And we are moving into Miramar, 2 of them back to back to be precise, to finish off the second day of the survival stage. And Blank, it has been a bit of a journey we've already been on, mate. The Eren Girls, the initial Sandhawk as well, all of them have had a bit of a different flavour. I wonder what's going to be sort of, you know, the taste left in our mouths after these Miramar games.
Yeah, well, I mean, man, I don't know. It might be a sour taste, might be a bitter taste for some of these teams, might be a very sweet and delicious taste for some of these teams towards that top side, feeling very comfortable, feeling very safe. For UDO Alliance, that is a really comfortable game on that last one. I think that Max and Clive mentioned it. Look, it was just the same circle from before, and they have a very easy and very nice little crossing down towards that position. And they essentially just played it how they would have wanted to play it that last time around. So really, really well done to both of them. And I think for, honestly, Reject, they'll be happy with a 3rd place on that one, a 2nd place on that one, get some good points on the board overall. which they desperately needed, right? And I think that consistently today, Reject's been doing pretty well. And I think tomorrow we'll see some of those teams from Group Red try and hit some higher numbers as well on that chase. Again, today we will be setting that benchmark, at least for some of those teams with Group Green leaving us. And I think that's the most important thing for a lot of these squads to be taking a look at the end of the day, is where that 16th place lies. Currently, it is with Malise Esports at 25 points.
Okay, then. What are things going to be looking like in terms of the points after this first Miramar? What drastic changes are we going to be seeing? All big questions that will have a large influence on the overall standings, but we'll find out as we kick it off. The plane has taken off and we're flying over Miramar. If you take a look out of your left window, you'll see water treatment. If you take a look out of your right window, you'll see power grid. Please keep your arms and legs inside of the plane at all time. Now I'll pass you over to your captain, Blank.
It is me, and also disregard that last comment about keeping your legs and arms in there playing at all times. At some point we are going to be tossing you out, because you're going to have to get into this match, gain yourself a couple of these points at the moment, because this is not a safe run from us. It's going to be quick, dirty, and it's going to be fierce going into this Miramar. This is our first of two before Group Green will end their run here in the survival stage and see just how many points that they have been able to put up and get in. Currently, Quest is one of the teams very much in danger at this point in time. Currently played 10 matches with a measly 17 points, currently in 21st place. It is going to take a gargantuan effort from them in these last two matches, and quite honestly, I just don't think it's possible, and this might be one of our first teams to be confirmed gone over in that bottom 8 of the lobby for the survival stage. They will not be making it through to last chance unless something absolutely insane can happen here on these last two Miramars, which I just don't think is going to happen.
No, it would have to be miraculous. Not quite sure if it'll be going that way. We did have Maxman coming in with the hot drop breakdown as well. He gave us a quick lay of the land of the potential positions and clashes that we could be seeing. DX versus MBEs was one of them in El Pozo. And then the other potential that doesn't seem like it's happened was FaZe versus Evos as well. Max has been taking a look over the VODs. So he had basically came to the description blank that we might be seeing those as the common drop spots. At least this time, it seems like some of the teams have got their heads screwed on and haven't wanted to run the risk of a hot drop this late into the day of competition, especially with some of them actually having a good day of it as well. Like for Evos, right? Running the risk of that, not going to be ideal. Not the best playing path for it either as well. So that's why we've avoided that one. But honestly, probably for the best, mate. These hot drops are getting a little bit too warm, Blank. It's like being in a sauna, but you don't really want to be in there. You thought it was an ice room.
Yeah, it's currently 1 a.m. The janitor locked the door. You're stuck in there. They've turned off the lights. It's a horrible experience overall. You're sweating. You're not sure what's going to happen. You're just going to have to wait it out and move out of the old sauna in the morning looking a little bit mummified. But in the meantime, we'll keep you guys nice and cozy at least. And we'll be there with the keys in the morning around about 7 a.m. because I don't wake up too early. But looking at this plane, obviously it wasn't too great for either of those hot drops on this side of things. Difficult to get down towards Chumacera anyway, so a lot of teams had to go for something just a little bit different. On the cards here, we do have MBE Sports up towards El Pozo. In the meantime, Gladiators playing towards their preferred drop spot in La Cobreria. They have been trying to switch things up just a little bit recently, moving further down towards his south side outside Hacienda del Patron. Certainly have done their homework though. Not really a possibility here versus Nassar, who are over towards water treatment in the first place. So that would cause them to be running into another team fairly early on. And I think for Gladiators, who haven't put up any points since that second game, sorry, currently on 59. I think they'd want to push this just a little bit higher in these final two matches. I think 80 points is a pretty happy finishing point for any team within this lobby, currently with Mad Bulls at 89 points total. Also, not the most amazing day for them, but they have put up some good points, right? I think yesterday just sort of overshadows the consistency that we're seeing today from them.
been an interesting day for it as well, man, because I think it's made it so hard to really, truly assess the situation. I don't even know by the end of today, Blank, if we'll have the best lay of the land of how things are going to look by the end of survival stage, because any sort of the theory we came into it with initially with, you know, kind of the idea of Group Green being the real big group of death that it was, that had so many top teams in it, translating into survival stage, felt like it kind of wasn't an accurate depiction of day one. Then now we're seeing some of them bubbling up towards the top. We're seeing a good test of some of the other teams now in the lobby for today as well. I think really by the end of tomorrow, you know, as silly as it is to say, is when we're actually going to truly understand just how tight this was, because it's been hard to call the whole way through. We've seen these standings definitely getting shaken the longer it has gone on. It's been a lot of impressive maneuvers from Brazil as a region as well throughout the course of the entirety of the tournament. Here at the minute, Inco, being the sole representative of Brazil inside of this lobby, haven't had the best day of it. Of course, they had to fight tooth and nail. Similar story to Quest, to barely make it here in the first place. I think the more surprising one as well is, you know, as we go deeper down towards the bottom, I'm kind of expecting a bit more from maybe your Duxan, maybe you know, Mega Galaxies as well, that, you know, just feel like there could have been a little bit more to be done. We've got one of them fighting here though, as they are going aggro, broken wall combat, as they look to try and swoop on in. Bullets from behind the camper van, can't quite close the gap. Switch to the secondary, that one will kneecap, fights through the body as well, backed up by his teammates, and the pressure is on now.
Yeah, FS taking a huge amount of damage there on Hyper, and Duxan, like he said, yeah, really aren't giving up anything whatsoever. They're looking for more. FS will go down, and again, Zifan just has to send away as fast as possible. Hyper's really not been having a good tournament here at all in the survival stage, really struggling on every single drop at the start of the game. First couple of minutes just have been hellish for them. Zifan almost spinning out there on the vehicle as Vinny continues to pepper those shots across, gets a nice headshot, and Hoxie will finish off with one of his own. That's Hyper out with some beautiful gun skill coming through from Hoxie at the end there, and Duxan picks themselves up a juicy 4 points. Again, you were right, Duxan needs to do a little bit more at the bottom of the tables. That's a great start from them here on Miramar, and see them a little bit safer coming into the survival stage. Alter Ego, look, we didn't want to talk about the start today, but you know what? 41 points. It's not too bad, honestly. It's not too bad. They have certainly struggled, but they're struggling against the tide here, trying to get back to the safety of the beaches so they can sit up in those armchairs and just wait for this one comfortably to end without worrying about maybe being pushed out from that top 16. Obviously, only 2 more games to go, though, for Alter Ego. These are some really important matches for them as well, because by no means is 41 points safe at all.
Feels like nothing's a safe threshold anymore, man. It doesn't matter how much of a buffer you've got, Blank. I'd still be a bit scared. You never want to leave it up to someone else, right? So just trying to keep that consistent growth of points always going. Such a hard task, but something that needs to be done relatively consistently, game in, game out right now. You can see already with the posturing, a lot of these teams earlier on today, even yesterday, especially when there kind of wasn't a level playing field, there wasn't a point where you could see one team pulling ahead, they probably would have gone for a few more of these fights. At the minute, it's a bit more sheepish. Teams sort of fighting to warn off other squads. A lot of defensive gameplay at the minute, kind of turtling, trying to gain control of your lay of the land and force other teams to feel uncomfortable, rather than swooping in, kind of playing that very aggressive, you know, guerrilla strong together mentality of just trying to overwhelm opposition by roaming as a pack, which was working earlier today. On Miramar, in this sort of situation, might not be the best call. One wrong fight could be the difference of you basically leaving yourself with no chances to get points today. For Group Green, that would mean no chances remaining over the course of the survival stage as well. So big pressure, big momentum shift needs to happen. Zone shift, though, is going to cause a bit of a cascade. Everyone wanted to get themselves into the center circle as quick as possible, but look at Mad Bulls miles away, taking a slow turn on things, wanting to just take their time with a rotate on this.
Yeah, slowing it down massively, and that's fair enough for the Mad Bulls. I think they want to just confirm some more consistent placements here in these final couple of games. They know that they've done a lot already in the lobby to see themselves pretty safe here. Like you said, it's very hard to say what is safe, honestly, at this point in time, because there could be a massive jump up from all 16 teams tomorrow in both Group Yellow and Group Red. But we'll see what happens. For Mad Bulls, I would say that they've done really, really well for both their region as well as themselves, getting themselves fairly decently confirmed towards that last chance. There is still more to be done in those 2 days following, but at least they get a break in between. For some of these other squads at the moment, there is some serious pressure on them. But Miramar, obviously one of those matches where you really want to keep all 4 players alive towards that end game, and a lot of teams are looking to pick up some central positions early on. Reject still following that same mentality of picking up that central spot at the beginning of the game. They've done a great job to do it down towards this south side already. This will see them in a good position to pick up some more of those points. Yes, they're not picking up those big chicken dinners, but they are very much definitely in that top 3 a lot of the time now. So, you know, I think they are another team that just felt the pressure from yesterday, weren't able to play comfortably, a little bit fidgety in their seats, but this time they are definitely playing much more how we saw in that Group Green, where they look like a formidable team, let's be honest.
Yeah, definitely a facelift that I think both of us are pretty happy to witness here, looking a lot more like themselves. Interesting game so far. Few skirmishes, few fights just to get the backs up of other opponents. A lot of control of the map here being fought for. Peppered bullets being thrown in the direction of Gladiators now, though, as Tixie and co start to scout out, fan themselves around and look for the information on the rotate with the vehicles. Levi's really hoping for a heavy hit on this. He's got the bullets for it. Man's got 200 rounds in the back pocket, so he's willing to just fire off a few warning shots and keep looking for damage. Here's the overall lay of the land, though, the way things are looking with the map. It's Alter Ego that are barely coming up towards the entry point here as well. That would be Udo Alliance that have to fight through if they head into the zone. And they've got, again, another nice spread. Udo Alliance, I have enjoyed the way they've been playing, Blank, in terms of relying on each other as duos. Feels like they have a lot of faith in their setups where they'll play off each other's contacts. And they're probably going to be tested by Melise as well with this. So this actually might be an opportunity to see if their combat skill is looking as drilled as it has been over the course of the day.
Yeah, for Udo Alliance, I think they've had some really, really strong like edge play style where they'll play off one another, and I think that they're cautious enough to actually go for that play style as well, where they won't push out the boat too far a lot of times, which is something that's very rare to see in these edge style teams. I think sometimes it's all or nothing for some of these squads, but these esports certainly have been plagued by that curse a few times so far already. But it's been pleasing to see Udo Alliance being able to really show a masterclass of how to do this one in the survival stage. For some of these teams towards that northern side, moving through Monte Nuevo, a little bit open area down towards Chumacera at the moment. Also a bit of a horrid position to play. I think Nigma Galaxy quite happy over towards the north side of Chumacera right now with relative safety, being able to have a good outlook over towards some of these players that are down towards the northern edge on the low ground at the moment. Reject still just holding on to this central position though, and I think for them, again, it's just nice to see them play much more like usual. FaZe, I want to see another big game out of this team, actually. They're quite central as well, currently challenging Reject out for their spot, and I think Mella's really proven his worth on this squad, but I don't want to see as much scrappy, like we're going to get 7 eliminations on this match and go down in 7th place. I'd like to see a much higher placing with a much more confident finish here.
Visualize that roadmap, that end goal early, have a good understanding of the way you want to play it, the way you want it to finish before you get there. Frozen throwing out bullets here down range. You've got great high ground, great understanding of where everyone is. Ooh, Frozen, he's been drawn into a fair few fights today that he's looked so confident in. And seeing Frozen playing with confidence is really fun to watch because you know he's a bit of a one-man army. You know that he can take these fights and single-handedly win them pretty confidently when he is playing his best. And the fact that he's instigating a lot of these, looking to just try and pick up elims where possible off the skin of his own back, and his team's giving him the extra range to do so, bodes well. It makes me think they're all feeling pretty confident individually. That might have been an air of overconfidence though. Gladiators on a scouting mission have been skewered. Duxan have engaged onto them, found the first knock. Matic has to get haphazard with the automatic because he sprays back some bullets. Yeah, tag sure, but not actually finding any frags out of it. Driving and healing, that's illegal, but he will pull it off and get himself back in the zone. So Hoxie being able to maintain good movement here as well and get ahead of Gladiators. This has worked out pretty well for them on the rotate unless they get mowed down. Meku on the hillside flank. They thought their bad days were over. They thought it was safe to go back into the water, but Meku is there.
Yeah, Meku's been having some really good off angles this tournament so far, and being able to pick up some of these eliminations despite losing one player will be really, really nice for the points totals. They desperately need them on board at this point in time, so I think Meku will be fairly happy with this one. They finished off a couple more as well. Hoxie and Zipian go down, so 3 eliminations for their troubles losing Tixie. It's decent, but you can see Xavier off in the distance there, down towards their south side. They'll be continuing to cause them problems in towards the future, and it's Alter Ego take the fight to Mad Bulls, who just have had a bit of a struggle so far.
How far is this struggle going to go, though? Will this be struggle street for them? Or is it just the struggle bus that potentially they can hop off at the next stop? They do go for the getaway mission. Seems like retreat is better right now. So they try and back away. Oh, look at this. Matic getting an understanding of where exactly Quest is situated. Quest in a vehicle graveyard at the minute. Just smoke and burn tires all around them. And now they're getting smoked a bit more literally as Levi's lurking on the hillside hits them with a big surprise. Kante's gone down. This is not looking good for Quest. They jump in the minivan, trying to go full Scooby-Doo and get out of there, see if they can find some clues about where they can stay alive, Blank. But their days are numbered, surely.
Yeah, I think for Quest, they bit off a little bit more that they could chew in that situation. They took shots over towards Gladiators as well. They were able to finish off one of them at least, but it's opened them now up to this fire coming through from DX also. And looking at the lay of the land where they have to move uphill here, it's going to be really tough to deal with. Mad Bulls managed to get away with that one. Yes, they took a fair bit of damage. 2 players still left alive though down towards the south side of the map, but it's Reject once again able to pick themselves a nice central spot towards this circle, flanked by FaZe on the side, but definitely a good chance in this game. But it's nice to see Alter Ego as well actually taking it to task with currently the top squad in the lobby, which is Mad Bulls.
Definitely seeing a shift in the power rankings here in terms of the way the teams are looking. Definitely feeling like there's a lot more confidence to fight, bringing down some of the walls that were put up on the back-to-back Erangals. Different stories here. Miramar always delivers something a little bit different. Grenade-based combat seems to be the play here. It's like a game of badminton, as those nades will go flying. Lamborghini wants to make this one look like a shuttlecock, sends it out as it will whiz on by and be miles off target. Wind must have caught that one.
Yeah, I mean, you always got to blame the wind at the end of the day in that situation. Junie, though, can't really escape the bullets that come whizzing at him. I mean, those have got a pretty direct trajectory on those bad boys. Quest attempts to try and get involved to maybe open themselves up a little bit of an avenue of approach versus DX whilst they were slightly distracted by the final player coming through from Duxam. More shots coming through from Nigma Galaxy, though. Over towards Alter Ego, off in the distance. Currently taking a 2-2 split. Also holding out MBE Sports as well as Nigma Galaxy. But I imagine at this point in time, Otka as well as Rosemary want to regroup with Fnatic and Alva over on this western side. If they can get out of there, that is.
And they even stay alive and keep themselves in a position to fight. Inko here, ooh, hefty connection with the nades. I mean, you're still standing, you're still alive and in the fight, barely. as Squash. He must have taken a ton of damage from the shrapnel on that. Melisto, so heavily focused on the team in front of them, don't realize they're being backstabbed as You Do Alliance come in, swing the scythe, and take Melise out of the equation. Quick heal in the vehicle, quick reset, and then set their focus on getting out of here. They don't like the chances of the engagement versus Inco. They're happy with the points that they stole from that one, and instead focus on calming it down, going off to a better position and playing the longevity on this one. Love to see that from the You Do Alliance. Actually really starting to play some great PUBG Mobile over the course of the day, Blank. It's felt like the longer we've seen them going, the more they've looked confident, the more they've warmed up into the day, and it really feels like they're hitting a bit of a stride now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great read from You Do Alliance as well, because they sense that that fight is very, very clean. Yeah, they were able to pick up the eliminations off the back of it and steal some away, but they know that Inco is fully ready and up for a fight. So they decide, you know what, let's not even take it. We have a strong position down towards this southeast side, which we can continue to manage. So we'll just leave this alone. We'll pick up those steals and play off the back of this one. Iftar comes up against Enigma Galaxy. There is a switch out from the side, and he has to be quick on the trigger here to try and take him down. Does a huge amount of damage, but takes a lot himself.
Damage dealer. Ooh, not ideal on the getaway, though. Last minute connection sweeps the legs out from underneath him as he'll tumble down the hillside. AE versus DX, as well as Alter Ego, thrown into a fight they probably don't want to be involved in. Inco might have got away from the jaws of defeat previously, but they've run into the big beasts of Evos, armed with some rather large guns as well. And they're closing in. Ooh, a late reaction, but a reaction that will be reverberated through Inco nonetheless, as they get shocked by the LMG, drop down to their last legs, only one man surviving, but the vital signs are good for him. He's at least being able to inflict some damage back onto Evos, and he might have bought just enough time to close the gap. It's a large rotate for him, low on HP as well, has to play the numbers game, stops for the heal. Spec is there, armed with a nade. Everyone's on top of one of another now, Blank, so any moves you make, any chance you reveal yourself, it's about 3 different squads that could engage off of the contact.
Yeah, it's really grim terrain at this point in time where you're just pushing through team after team and the line of sights just aren't there. So you're almost always going to be running into a different squad that you might not have scouted out earlier, which is why the You Do Alliance are just trying to take control of this valley as much as possible, where they have a lot of the info to themselves to play off the back of. Procedure Evos likely to go down shortly. Misery just able to back off away from that grenade as it explodes up in his face. Luxie drops behind, but it's a tall task ahead of them to deal with the remaining members here from You Do Alliance.
You Do Alliance, well, we do damage is what they're saying as they're pulling no punches. The shotgun cleaves its way through them as the first shots will land dead on target. Misery, he's got a big old gun and he's been slick with it so far. 60 bullets remaining in the magazine, only needs 5 to deal with the first man. Nade over the back, tries to reposition, but too little too late as his compound gets detonated and he's down and out. Star wants to ascend to the heavens on this one, though. Nade in through the window. That's a Molotov burning off the angle and making it far harder for You Do to control this compound. He's got the smoke in as well, but it's actually just opened the back door for Spec. He's found the engagement, got a few pots chopped off, and kind of fragmented this setup now from You Do. If Star keeps aggressing on this, Blank, there's room for the actual elims to go his way. He could definitely third party on this cleanly right now.
Yeah, it's a potential chance for them as well. FaZe are also looking down this way in the meantime, see if they can get a quick sniff of this one, but it is Star and Spec looking to finish out this fight, and I love the fact they went into this with the 2 players. Cluck is there though on the side with the shoddy, and now just 1 player remains in Spec, who has a lot to account for here.
Spec, what can he do, man? How far can he take this? He's all around them. They're starting to look down the hill, and finally they will spot the head as Flax will slay him. And they are out of the runnings. Losing an awful lot of our teams now as we're whittling our way through them quite quickly down towards stage 6. Not too many left, and a smaller circle to contain everyone as well. So more fights in a more frequent manner going to start developing here on this one. Reject Tokyo set up inside of a compound, though, sitting pretty at least. Haven't really had to fight too many big battles inside of this one. They have 3 eliminations to their name so far, and they're just waiting for a battle to come to them. The current clash, though, is focused on Quest. I say Quest, it was just easy, and now he's gone.
Yeah, I think for Quest now, we can pretty much say that they're done and dusted. It's not likely they'll be getting into this last chance. So I think that was our last bit adieu to that team. I think they've done very well to get here, but that's probably good night to them at this point in time. Enigma Galaxy trying to get further into this match have had a bit of a struggle day over the last 5 matches, but this one looks a little bit better with 4 players still left alive, you know, 4 eliminations as well. This is a good start, at least something. And this is probably one of the most even and scary lobbies to finish a game off. We've got 3 teams, 4 teams. How many teams are 5 teams with 4 players left alive? It is going to be all-out warfare as we move into Stage 7. This is going to really tighten up, and teams will be forced to fight one another. FaZe has got a really, really big task ahead of them as well, because it's going to be a lot of different teams that they're currently having to manage. Everyone understands how strong this high ground currently is, and FaZe doesn't want to give it up. I think they would have hoped that more teams would have gone down at this point in time. But again, this was a match where they had a nice central position. It's one where I wanted to see more of their players make it to the end game and get a big chunky win off the back of it, but by no means is this an easy test at all. We've brought out the hard papers for this one.
Big point score, but an awful lot of risk taking is what's going to be coming up in the next couple moments then. No easy ones, no freebies this late in the survival stage. It only gets harder. There's only more pressure on you. And we'll see how well our teams can deal with that as well, because that's the human element of it. PUBG Mobile here in such a big tournament, the most prestigious of the year with PMG.